Hello, I'm Attorney Todd Leneve. Welcome to West Virginia Gun Law. Today I have the pleasure of having my buddy Dave Janssen, who is a certified West Virginia law enforcement officer, join us on the channel. And we are going to talk about just a variety of things here relative to Dave's career and his approach to policing and some of his general philosophies, including his pro-Second Amendment stance. And Dave is probably going to be a regular on the channel from time to time as we look at videos, do some reaction videos. And so I wanted to take some time to introduce you guys to him. And that's going to include probably a several-part series here with Dave. And hope you enjoy this. Stick around. So, as I said, Dave Janssen, a good friend of mine, he's a local law enforcement officer, and we first started dealing with one another, probably what,
15 years, yeah, in that area.
15 years ago or so, when he was on the other side of some criminal matters that I was representing. And one of those things where, you work with somebody in that capacity and kind of get a sense of who the other person is, and I think we decided, okay, this guy's not a complete idiot, and I'm still not sure he's convinced about me, but we ended up talking some, and just over the years become pretty good buddies, and we hang out a bit now and do some shooting together, and I've had the benefit of picking his brain on some different shooting methods and techniques and security type ideas. But wanted to take some time, Dave, and have you share with the audience a little bit about your background and kind of what led you up to the point where you are today, working in law enforcement here in West Virginia.
So I was born in Grantsville, Calhoun County. Moved into Wood County and then Parkersburg at a young age. Ended up doing all my schooling there. Had a normal childhood: baseball, wrestling, football, played sports, all that stuff. Ended up time for college, and I came to Fairmont State University. While I was at college, obviously had to have a job. So I ended up getting a job in Bridgeport, and I worked basically loss prevention, retail security for quite some years.
So you started that during college?
During college I did, yeah.
This is a way to make some cash.
Extra money, yeah.
Weekend adventures, whatever those might have been.
Activities, yeah. So, I started out with that. Of course, my degree had nothing to do with that line of work. It ended up, I graduated with an IT degree. But, my senior year in college, decided I never wanted to be behind a computer again in my life.
How's that working out for you today?
Yeah. I still find myself behind a computer quite often. So, I had done that for some time. I started out with one company and then, ended up getting recruited to another company and then finally recruited to a third company. And, the paychecks kept increasing as I was changing locations, so they were obviously better moves.
All still here around Harrison County? Or?
All in Harrison County,
okay.
Yeah. I stayed in Harrison County pretty much. My work career for the past 2.5 decades has been in Harrison County.
Okay.
So, ultimately the retail company that I was last with, they ended up going through some changes after I'd been there for a few years. Changes that would increase their profit margin, and some of the tall tale signs were there, and I decided it was getting close for me to leave the company, and then. When I found out that my wife was pregnant with my daughter, I definitely decided I needed some stability and some security in employment.
So it was looking like some changes within the company were going to impact the loss prevention department?
Correct.
Gotcha. So you started looking at some other opportunities then.
So basically, we worked in a large metro region, and that as far as the company was, the way it was regioned out, was a metro region, and you could see certain changes within the company and certain people, they were letting go, and I was entering a period where I was worried about my job.
Gotcha.
There.
Gotcha.
So.
So is that what led you towards law enforcement then at that point?
To some degree.
How long had you been working in that particular field in loss prevention?
In that field,
Yeah.
I would say about 9 years.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you had a while.
Yeah.
This is even after college graduation.
I think I'd been there for probably close to 3 to 4 years with that particular company.
Okay. Okay.
But I'd always had an interest in law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, my family, generationally, my great-grandfather was in law enforcement. My grandfather was not. He was a first-generation American. He didn't make the law enforcement thing, but my uncles, my father, they were all part of law enforcement. I don't think anybody was too excited about me going into law enforcement, but I always had that interest. Growing up in the '80s and seeing Lethal Weapon and Beverly Hills Cop and all the fun stuff that isn't real.
All the formative,
the formative
movies for most cops, right?
I mean, you have to be part of that. But I always had that level of interest, and it just so happened that a local agency was hiring about the same time I was having these second thoughts about the company I was working for, and I ended up testing for them, and I did well testing, and here I am.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. And so, roughly how old were you then when you got on with the agency?
So I was actually 3 days away from my 29th birthday. I got hired 3 days prior to my 29th birthday.
Okay, okay. So you started a little bit late. I mean, not the typical thing you see with an awful lot of officers who that's their first job and that's what they always planned on doing, going right in. So you brought some real world experience in, but obviously had a lot of experience dealing with people one-on-one in loss prevention.
Absolutely.
Not always under the best circumstances.
Rarely.
Let me ask you this, and sort of jumping ahead a little bit, but did some of that experience, you think, help you develop your personal philosophy towards policing?
I think that any experiences you gain kind of should help your personal philosophy with policing. But in dealing with there towards the end, I was also a manager store side. So my roles weren't just with going and catching people shoplifting. I had to do with internal theft investigations, customer service, the whole nine. And I would say that definitely did, because the goal is for everybody to win in some way, right? Like, even if it's a small win, get them a win somehow. But I would say all in all, those experiences definitely they made me who I am.
So. And I tell you, as I said, I've worked with Dave on the other side of cases a lot over the years, and I can tell you that your approach and comments that I've heard from most of the clients that I've represented in cases involving you has always been one that seems that you have a recognition that when they're dealing with you, it's usually one of the worst days of their life.
Yeah, always.
And
always.
I can't tell you off the top of my head how many people have said, he treated me with respect. And it seems to me that approach really makes an impact in how it is you're doing your job, how that whole interaction can go. And, again, that's why I'm just kind of curious, how much of your loss prevention background, dealing with people in obviously stressful situations, and, who knows why they maybe were doing what they were doing. Some, I'm sure, was just for the heck of it. Others maybe felt that they had some justification, maybe a need, a point of desperation or something in their lives. And it seems like you, compared to a lot of guys I know, tend to try to tune into that and just sort of identify and find a way to connect. And, good police work is maybe you get them comfortable and they get talking more than I'd want them to. But I don't know that that's the sense that I've had of your approach. I have the idea that you tend to want to try to connect and help somebody make, again, what's a bad situation as minimally bad as it can be.
I would say, not everybody's raised with the same opportunities and the same education and the same goals, right? Like, we're all different in our own ways.
Sure.
And when people break laws, sometimes they don't even know they're breaking laws. So I think, the real goal is to hold them accountable for what they did, but also to have them understand why we're here to start with. And then hopefully you can change that behavior and they don't do that again, right?
Yeah. And so that seems to be, like I said, my sense of what sort of underpins your philosophy on how you do the job.
Yeah.
Treat people decent, and I know that there are times that they don't give you that option, and but that's not unique to you. That's everybody who wears a uniform is out there on a job on a daily basis. So what is it about police work that, aside from that family history and Beverly Hills Cop,
Right.
that drew you into that area? Is there, was there more to it? Was it, stability? What really got you thinking, if I'm not going to have this loss prevention role, I'm going to be a cop?
The big thing at the time, especially because the scariest point in my life was whenever I knew that I had a kid on the way, right?
So let's go take a dangerous job then.
Well, it's only as dangerous as, no, it can be dangerous. But no, just having that financial security and seeing where it led. There were some agreements that my wife and I had made prior to that. Now, granted, she forgave me on some of those agreements, and she allowed me to continue on, so to speak. But it was a good community at the time. They were one of the better paid departments in the state. And it was just a great group of people that I had encountered through working in this area. Mm-hmm. So I thought it would be a great place to kind of get my roots and learn from my peers and hopefully have a good career in law enforcement.
Yeah, good deal. As I said, Dave's going to join us from time to time and get the perspective of law enforcement on certain videos that we'll probably watch and review with you guys. And it's important to me that you understand who he is and why this is a guy that I trust, why he's somebody that I would say, hey, come join me in doing this work. I think he has a lot of ideas here and opinions that are correct and his head's in the right place. And in my opinion, Dave's an asset to law enforcement in this area. And hoping the next 9 years doesn't fly by, because if you retire, I don't know who I'm going to trust after that.
I'm telling you, man, 9 years, I'm going to be on a shrimp boat in South Carolina.
Well, listen, Dave, I appreciate you being here. Guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming along for the ride here. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps to get this information out there. The more of you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon so that you get notifications when a new video drops. Please like it, share it. It takes that to get us around the anti-2A algorithm that exists on this platform. And the more that you share it, the more you like it, the more likely that it's going to get recommended. And it's not just about me. By the way, I'm not monetized at all on this channel. I'm doing this because I think there's a lot of information that the public needs to be able to have access to. So help me in that. I need you guys, so you've made this channel what it is. Please help me to continue to grow it by hitting that like, by hitting the share button, getting it out to people so that we can organically grow this channel. If the platform isn't going to help us, we're going to have to help ourselves. Thanks for spending time with us today. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing the next video. Until then, take care and stay safe.